Heary, heary! The following scene is a reenactment of Perry versus Schwarzenegger, the Prop 8 trial heard in the U.S. District Court. Ryan Kendall is a gay man who works for Denver Police Department and who was subject to conversion therapy as a youth. He is a fact witness for the plaintiffs and is under direct examination by the plaintiff's intervener's lawyer, Ron Flynn. The plaintiffs in this case are two loving same-sex couples who simply want to marry, just as any heterosexual couple in America has the right to do. Court is now in session.
Your wish out, Mr. Flynn.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm an NCIC agent.
Can you briefly tell us what an NCIC agent is?
NCIC stands for the National Crime Information Center. It's a database maintained by the FBI. I have clearance to work with secure criminal information that's on that database.
Mr. Kendall, I want to talk about when you were younger, when you were a child. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
And when were you born?
1983.
So you are 26-year-old now.
That's correct.
While you were a child in Colorado Springs, did you learn of concept of gay people or homosexuality?
Yes. I remember during the discussion about Amendment 2. During the Amendment 2 campaign, my parents would talk about homosexuals seeking special rights and how they were essentially evil people. Like, have you experienced like real strong homophobic attitudes or actions by anyone at the school or maybe in your high school? Like, they treated you badly?
Not in my high school. I actually went to a very liberal high school. It was in Granada, that was the Valley. I actually wore Sorry Girls, I'm Gay shirt, and I didn't hear anything about it. So that was pretty cool. That's what I like about my high school. But here, unless you actually put it out there, like one time I actually wore just in drag for one of our events on campus, because I'm part of a club, and this guy almost said, you know, told me to like back up from him because he would kick my ass.
Wait, what's that just in drag?
Drag? Oh, drag is when pretty much one sex dresses as the opposite sex.
Okay.
Not cross-dressing, but more on the sense of like taking on the whole essence of what is the opposite sex. Like for drag queens, it's all about you know, personifying like females. You know, and drag kings, it's all about females personifying males, and it's, you know, through the usage of, you know, big costumes and outrageous makeup and just, you know, like outrageous personalities.
Did you know what a homosexual was?
No, I didn't. I just knew it was a big, long, scary word. I found the whole concept very frightening.
Mr. Kendall, what is your sexual orientation?
I'm a gay man.
When did you first realize that you were gay?
When I was a little kid, I knew I liked other boys. But I didn't realize that that meant I was gay until I was probably 11 or 12 years old.
How did you come to realize that it meant that you were gay?
I was a precocious kid. So one day I ended up looking up the word homosexual in a dictionary. And I remember reading a definition, something along the lines of a romantic attraction between members of the same sex. And it slowly dawned on me, that's what I was.
How did you feel when you realized that you were gay?
Well, once I connected this all together, I realized that what a homosexual was. The fact that I was a homosexual and the fact that my family, my community did not like this concept, I was scared of that. I realized this was bad news for me. So I kept this a secret, and I hid it as far away from everyone as I could.
Around this time, did anyone talk to you about being gay?
When I was in 7th grade, I remember being taunted about being gay. Some of the older boys and boys in my class would call me names. and things like that.
What kind of names will they call you?
I was called a faggot. I was called a homo, a queer, or even just gay.
Other than name calling, did these boys do anything else to you?
I remember one incident. I have worn glasses since I was like in my 3rd grade. I need them to see. And a couple of boys took my glasses and played monkey in the middle. Keep away, threw them over my head. Eventually they broke them.
What was it like for you to be in that school? How did you feel?
It was scary going into that building. Realizing that these kids were taunting me with a word that was so close to the truth. It was very upsetting. I would go home, get in the car, and my parents would pick me up crying, telling them what's been going on.
What did your parents do?
My parents were horrified that I was being treated so poorly. So eventually they took me out of that school, placed me in another one.
Personally, like, that would really suck for me, having to not be able to marry someone who, wouldn't be able to get the green card because we wouldn't be able to get married, and, we would have to change our lifestyle due to that, issue. But what actually bothers me more is the fact that other people don't get that option, that, it's not about me, but it's more like other people who really do want it, because I'm not the person that kind of like is all about marriage, but there are other people that are, and they don't have that option, so that bothers me more.
At the time they did that, did your parents know that you were gay?
No, they did not.
Did your parents ever find out that you were gay?
Yes, when I was 13 years old. At one point, my parents discovered my journal. For the first time in that journal, I admitted to myself that I was gay. I had actually written those words, and they found that and read it.
What happened when they found that journal?
My parents flipped out. They were very upset. They were yelling. I remember a lot of what they said, but it was pretty scary, the level of their reaction.
Can you remember anything they said to you when they found the journal?
Yes. I remember my mother looking at me and telling me that I was going to burn in hell.
Were you in a religious family?
Yes. I grew up in a very religious family. Church and God were everyday parts of our life.
So what? What did you sing when your mother told you that?
It was shocking. I never heard anything like that from my own mother. I never thought that my parents would ever say anything. I mean, hell was the worst. Don't get much worse than eternal damnation.
Oh yeah, when I also like Joe, when I read Kendall's story, I was horrified about his story and what people say about him, how his parents treat him, and I think that it's not fair to treat people like this. They're human beings, they have rights like everybody else in this world, and yeah, I'm totally for AIDS and the gay marriage.
I was totally stunned that they had said that.
Did your parents later tell you anything else about you being gay?
After my parents found out, my whole life changed a lot. My parents didn't take it very well. I remember my mother calling me names.
Did they make any efforts to put you in therapy or to change you in any way?
Yes. Shortly after this incident, I was sent to a Christian therapist for reversal therapy.
Why do you say it was a Christian therapy?
That's how it was identified to me.
Can you tell us the goal of the Christian therapy?
Yes. I was told that the goal was to make me a heterosexual.
How many times did you go to this therapy?
I went 2 or 3 times.
Do you remember anything you did at that therapy?
I remember a little bit. I remember the therapist telling me that homosexuality was inconsistent with Christian teaching. That my parents didn't want me to be gay. And I needed to change. And that homosexuals were bad people.
Did Christian therapy make you feel better about the situation?
No, it didn't. I always wanted to be a good kid, to make my parents proud. And suddenly, I was in a situation where they were taking me to see this guy who was telling me I was a bad person. And they were telling me I was a bad person. And we're feeling very, very alone.
Was the therapy successful? By that I mean, did it reach its goal of making you into a heterosexual?
No, I was still gay.
Karen, what's your thought? What are your thoughts?
About that whole God thing. You know, God's all about, you know, showing everybody love. And, you know, I think gay people should have the right to marry each other. You know, if they love each other, then, you know, they can be a reflection of, you know, of how everyone should act with each other and how, you know, everyone should be accepting of each other and love each other. And I am for gay marriage, and yeah.
Try to become heterosexual during those therapy sessions?
No, I didn't think it was possible.
Why not?
I knew I was gay, just like I knew I'm short and I'm half Hispanic. And I just never thought that those facts would change. I remember before this all started, I had the kind of parents who would drive me to school, make my lunches, write notes and put them in my lunch. After this, they were always yelling at me. They were calling me names. They were just telling me really horrible things. And it became a really emotionally and verbally abusive environment.
What kind of names were they calling you?
My mother would tell me that she hated me, or that I was disgusting, or that I was repulsive. Once she told me that she wished she had an abortion instead of a gay son. She told me that she wished I had been born with Down syndrome, or had been mentally retarded. Things like that. That's deep, man.
Pretty much, but
What I'm trying to say is there's people against it, and I don't exactly know why they would oppose it, and they might be having their side. So you had to evaluate both sides to figure out to give it or not give it. So I guess that's the issue here.
but what do you personally think?
I don't have anything against it.
Okay, I'm gonna be really simple. Marriage is supposed to be a representation of love, and therefore you cannot forbid people to have an union and be together as long as they want.
There's so many things that bother me about the Prop A situation. The fact that, you know, the LGBT community is, you know, can't come together as a whole to fight for it. Like, it's like every time I read an article about it, it's like they're split into different opinions on how to approach it. And it's like, why not just come together and, you know.
So I just have a couple of things to say. My question for the people that oppose gay marriage is, what exactly is it to you? Like, really, how is this going to affect your life on a daily basis? I mean, is this, are you, one of the things that I've heard is that parents are afraid that teachers are going to be out of school and that, you know, they're going to be teaching homosexuality to kids. That is completely absurd. And like you guys were saying, marriage is it's a union between two people that love each other. And if two people love each other and we all should have the right to choose who we want to be with, regardless if it's a man or a woman. And that's it.